Welcome back to Our Issues Birmingham. I'm Tommy Spina. David SHER is talking with us today about things going on in our community. One of the things that we believe, we being those of us that have been here most of our lives, I say that because it's not over yet, it is the obvious breakdown in coordination between the variety of governments that we have in our greater metropolitan area. I mean, we're 36 or 7 municipalities, right. And I believe that's been a detriment to this area as it relates to growth. Is there any movement with respect to our current structure in the big picture?
Yes, there is, but let me kind of give a brief history of the problem of government structure, because number one, you have the metropolitan Birmingham area that's between 1.1 and 1.2 million people. You have the city of Birmingham that has a little over 200,000 people, so that's 19% of our metropolitan area. So less than 1 out of every 5 people who live in our metropolitan area live in the city of Birmingham. So you have a city where most people from our metropolitan don't live.
Don't live here.
And so you could have a mayor who was Moses, and what can they do? I mean, they only have so many people they represent, and so much territory, and so much assets in order to make things happen. Then you have Jefferson County, which you alluded to just a second ago, that it's composed of 37 municipalities.
Do we have like a mayor's council where they all work together, or at least talk to one another?
They do have a mayor's council.
Okay.
The detail of that I'm not sure I know.
Okay.
So you have 37 municipalities. Then you have, for Jefferson County, you have 5 county commissioners. They're all elected by district. So you don't have one single individual who represents all of Jefferson County, or even has to talk to the people in all of the people in Jefferson County. And so when they make decisions, in many cases, they'll all tell you they're making them for the best interest of the county, but they're going to vote according to what their constituents want, and that has been an issue in the past. Then you have our state constitution, which means that has lack of home rule, which means many of the most important, particularly financial decisions that are made by the state legislature, not Jefferson County Commission. So even if you wanted to hold the county commission responsible, you cannot really do that because they don't control the purse strings in many cases. So you add all of that up and you end out with a dysfunctional government.
I was about to say, equals dysfunction.
Right. So Tommy, if you decided that you wanted to run for public office and really make a big difference in our Birmingham region, there's no office to run for.
Good. Then we're even. No, right. I'm trying to get in the right lane.
But and so what ultimately happens is that we can't seem to get going. I mean, and it's so interesting because
how could there be no office to run for? I mean, we have a terribly broken government at the state level, it appears to me. Mm-hmm. So I know there's a governor's spot out there that could use some massaging.
Right. But for our metropolitan Birmingham area, you could become the mayor of Birmingham, which we already know doesn't have enough power to really change the region. You could run for a county commission. There's not even one single person.
I see what you're saying.
And then you can't even hold the commission responsible because the
state overrides that.
Right. So that's what you ultimately end out. And I've talked to a lot of people about this through the years, and we've had conversations, and I've given speeches, and people always tell me exactly the same response. You're absolutely right, but it'll never happen here. Yeah. Things are never going to change. And so I determined that that's the wrong speech to give because, first of all, things can happen here. And I guess if you just look what's happened, what we talked about earlier in Birmingham, people always said there's no sense for us to try to do anything or develop anything. It always fails. We're a bunch of losers. Nothing's ever going to happen here. And all of a sudden you have Railroad Park, Regents Field, the Rotary Trail.
A skating rink.
The Thomas Jefferson Hotel, the Pizitz Project. In fact, when I was on your show a year ago, you asked me, do you think that Pizitz Project will ever happen?
It looks great, by the way.
And they already have people starting to move into the Pizitz.
Really?
Right. And
That's great.
and you have the Lyric Theater, I think, that has come online since then. And across from the Lyric Theater, there's this Grace Construction building. That's a gorgeous building that they fixed up. Across from the Alabama Theater, they're doing development there. The Federal Reserve property behind.
I saw that.
So the list is sort of endless of all the great things that are going. So people who tell you that we don't have a chance to have anything happen, things can happen here and are happening here. We've always had low self-esteem, and I think you're starting to see people look at the possibilities rather than the fact that you can't be successful at it.
Well, we've certainly been successful on the restaurant front.
Absolutely, the restaurant front.
Yeah, and we just got recognized by Zagat's
Right.
as one of the top food cities in the country.
Absolutely.
That's pretty special. I get chill bumps just saying it. Makes me want to go eat. That is incredible. And we can thank Frank Stitt originally for kicking that off in the first place.
Absolutely.
And some of his offspring have
And look
created
at
great
and
things.
getting away from downtown. Just look at what's happened here. What's been announced recently. Birmingham area will be designated as a civil rights monument or national park.
Yes, we talked to the director one day on our show.
Right.
She was pushing for that at that
The
time.
World Games are going to be here in 2021. You're going to have thousands of athletes and people here. The Senior Games are going to be in Birmingham next year. Top Golf.
Senior Games?
Senior Games.
I might be
there
up
you
for
go.
that.
Top Golf, which is a huge complex,
that's
is
huge.
coming to the Civic Center. And I mean, the thing that's so amazing is
You mean the Civic Center piece of property
back.
over there?
It's coming back behind there.
Yeah, that's a big project.
And if you look at uptown, you know, the entertainment district over on that side, there's another project. People said that thing doesn't have a chance of being successful. It's 100% filled. People go there regularly. And now you're starting to see what's happening with Top Golf, and Top Golf will cause other things to happen.
Yeah, it'll bring more people there, I'm sure. All right, well, hold that thought. We'll get back to some other topic in just a second. This is Our Issues Birmingham. Don't go away. We'll be right back.